If you're new here, welcome to Your Somatic Life, Love, Leadership and Legacy. I'm Sam Ricks and I help high-achieving women like you break free from self-sabotage by bridging the self-healing mindset and business success, because your mind and body are your strategy. Let's get into it. So you have big goals. I know you do, because you are creative, you are intelligent, you have lots of different things that you wish to do and achieve. But sometimes that can help you feel really overwhelmed. And when you feel really overwhelmed, you perhaps end up with something that I have experienced many times over, which is shiny object syndrome. And feeling like you're starting all the time and you have lots of things started, but never really anything finished. Why is that? This is something that comes up in many conversations that we have in our community. We talk about it quite frequently when we just feel really overwhelmed and distract ourselves with all of these amazing things we want to do. And I can talk about this personally because I'm a coach. I'm also a qualified massage therapist, a qualified coach and hypnotherapist. I love making aromatherapy products. I'm writing my book and I love journals and cards. I'm creating my own card deck. One of their biggest issues when they first come to me, just a complete overwhelm. And then therefore, having sat in procrastination for so long because they're not achieving anything. What we really need when we're feeling this way is absolute clarity. We need clarity, and to help us get that, it's best to break it down into 3 steps. So we're going to do that together today, and I'm going to talk you through the 3 steps that can help us get from doubt and overwhelm to certainty and motivation to get this stuff done and get these things completed. So the first question is, what brings you joy? Sometimes when we're struggling and we have many different things on the go, we can be doing something, but it isn't actually lighting you up. What brings you joy in your life? What do you want to do? You may end up with quite a long list. If you are creative, as I am, you may end up with 10, 15 things on your list. At this point, it doesn't matter. The best thing to do is to write down this whole list so you can see exactly how creative you are. Get your shiny object syndrome version of you out of your head and onto some paper. Write this list for yourself, and then look at your list and see if you can find just 3 to 5 or just 2 to 3, just a few of them. I always think 3 is a good number. Find a few that really light you up and give you a hell yes, and you're really excited about. You might be terrified about as well, but that's for another time. For now, what brings you absolute joy? Why is this important? Because we don't find our real purpose, the thing that's going to move the needle to get what we want for ourselves in life, without first finding our pleasure and passion. Because with all of these things, it started off as a hobby, it started off as a pleasure, something that brought you absolute joy. When it becomes a pleasure, it then amplifies itself to a passion. Maybe it's something you always then talk about when you're with your friends and family, or you're just doing all the time. Even if it's something like painting or knitting or reading or writing, is usually something that just brings you pleasure and joy. But there's more inside you, because you can just keep that for yourself and that be your own personal hobby, which is beautiful. But there's a part of you that feels motivated to turn this into your purpose. You want to share this with other people. Perhaps you want to start your own course or your own workshop, set up your own business. Turning this passion into your purpose so that you can walk away from a career or a job that you're not enjoying. I have done both of those things. I used to be a teacher and I loved teaching. I'm coaching now, which is about guiding you and helping you find your own answers. Some sessions will be teaching you how to do stuff, especially if it's business related, like techie things. As a coach, I create a safe space for you to find your own answers and the clarity and confidence that you know is in there, but has perhaps been trampled on with life experiences, pain, sadness, but also overwhelm. Okay. So we're focusing on overwhelm today. And if you find this question hard to answer, now just because you are creative and full of energy and you have all these amazing skills and things that you can and want to do, sometimes it's still hard to answer that question. What brings you joy? Have you ever noticed that? Out of all of those things, which are the ones that really light you up? Sometimes when you're creative, you can find yourself doing things that you think, meh. If you're finding it hard to answer the question, what brings you joy, then we can go a step deeper and ask ourselves, what do we want? And we don't feel as confident as we wish we would feel confident in ourselves, rooted in our own self-esteem and self-worth. Sometimes we don't know how to express what we want. We maybe don't know how to ask what we want in the wide world with other people and in our relationships. And that is something that we can work on together. Speaking from experience, I want to be an author. I have wanted to write books ever since I was a little girl, pretending to be Beatrix Potter in my room with my typewriter back then in the day. And I would just type out her books. It was complete copyright, but the point was I was pretending I was in the role of this author. And I am writing, I am nearing 40, and it has taken that long to go back to the 7, 8 year old in that bedroom and allow that creative part of myself that has always wanted to do this, because so many other things happened in life in between: divorce, loss, grief. In a short period of time, there were 5 years of my life where everything was all happening. And life can get too much and it can completely cloud where our joy and our pleasures are. It's powerful to ask ourselves these questions. I want to be an author, write a book. I used to choke when I would even say the words or feel the words, and I wouldn't want to write them down on the page in case it never happened. And the fear of it never happening, and then me feeling like a failure. Very often we can have this amazing creativity and energy, but the fear is stopping us from taking ownership of how we truly feel and what we want to do. So just by writing down, I want to, allowing yourself, give your permission to do that, to answer those questions. I want to write a book. Those two questions and those two lists, we've now got what brings you joy and all of these activities that you love. You've got things you want to do. Is there a close match? Is there something that's really jumping out at you as, yeah, and I really want to do that thing? And you'll know because that thing you are very passionate about. Now, when you have that clarity on the 2 to 3 things you really want to do, you don't just have to do one. Let's face it, we're creatives. You can't just do one thing. We are going to focus on one for now. And we don't need to do everything all at once. And that is something that when you have high energy, it's very difficult to rein yourself in. But if we want to stop starting all of these things and never having a project finish, we have to take radical responsibility and ownership for that. And let's focus on one. Maybe pick one from your list that's jumping out at you as something you're scared of doing, but it's something you know that inner part of you really wants to do, then that becomes your passion when you amplify it. I answered all the questions and I journaled and I wrote everything down. I really learned, started to understand who I was. I stopped watching television. I stopped watching EastEnders. I haven't watched a soap in all those years because those things that I really want to do became so passionate, which is exactly the process that I help guide you through. All the steps that I have been through to get from where I was, single, employed, unhappy, in a career that was toxic, and when losing mum, sadly, very quickly when I had my first child, and going through that huge transformation to now, which is being a certified and qualified therapist and coach, running my own business in my beautiful home, an amazing new relationship and partner, and our baby who's now 15 months old. That has all happened literally within, if you followed me for the last few years, you have seen that change. That is all because I stopped and I put in the work. I put in the inner work and went for it, and it's so worth it. Other women who I've worked with will tell you the same. I remember an amazing client of mine. I was recently talking to her, and she absolutely turned her life around as well. Within a year, she had found her boundaries, self esteem, and worth, stopped a situation that was causing her harm, and completely turned her life around. New partner, top job, top position in her career, managed to get that top job, moved area, moved house, new man, and everything because she went all in on her. So, if you're feeling doubt and you want to get from doubt to certainty and you're feeling overwhelmed because you're just starting, you have all these ideas, but the needle isn't moving and you're not finishing something and you're just feeling a bit confused, it's all a bit too much and you're overwhelmed, go through this process. It's simple, but it isn't easy. It might sound simple. I fell in a trap of believing, oh, I can do all this myself. I don't need a coach. I'll just watch videos on YouTube and learn. I was learning from lots of different pieces of content and trying to piece it all together. I was a single mom. I didn't have the finances, but I was wasting money in other areas of my life that I could have afforded the support if I had got to grips with that as well. I was piecing all of this stuff together and adding overwhelm on top of overwhelm. So not only was I overwhelmed with my energy, my creativity, with not knowing where to focus, I was stuck in pain and trauma and things I had experienced where I hadn't gone through my own stuff to be able to heal from that self-esteem and self-worth. So no matter what I learned, I wasn't putting anything into action because I was shit scared to do it. I was overwhelming myself with all of this different content and hearing all of these different tips and messages and words of advice from people. I was taking in too much information and that wasn't helping. So when I actually finally went all in on an amazing coach, your coach helps you drop the bullshit. Once you learn those skills and those tools to help you do that, the tools to help the mind, body, and spirit, you will forever keep those tools. You don't forget them. And because I work very closely with the somatic exercises and practice to help with the healing aspects, we focus on those things together. The only result is success. And in this community, we've created a safe space. What I didn't have were the right people around me, because that was another key point to my success. Having the right people around me in a safe space away from toxicity. What I wanted was connection. I didn't want to be on this journey alone because this self-discovery journey is very lonely. You may be the only person in your family doing it. The stats are quite unbelievable. I believe it's only 2% of the population actually do the inner work. So you may be the only one in your entire village, your friendship circle, your family, you may be the only one that's decided to go all in on themselves. Joining a community of women where we are all doing that is important, because one of the biggest benefits and what will help you get there faster is not just the clarity and the support from your coach, but the accountability and support from the women around you. We want to share those moments because this journey is hard. It is hard, but it is so worth it. So go through these questions with yourself. Ask yourself, what brings you joy? What do you want? Get radically honest with yourself. If you feel scared to say and write those things down because they are scary, you can go and look at my previous tapping video. Tap your positive affirmations, tap your body, do one of those exercises to help move that energy out of your body, because it is an emotion and it's energy that needs to be moved. You can move that energy so that you can find your pleasure, passion, and purpose. So enjoyed talking about this today and can't wait for our next episode. Take care. If today's episode resonated with you, don't let that insight stop here. Transformation happens when we take action. I've put together some of my best tools and resources to help you break free from self-sabotage and step into aligned success. You can get instant access just by subscribing at samanthajricks.com/subscribe. And if you loved this episode, make sure to hit follow so you don't miss what's coming next. And I'll see you soon. Take care.